What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV, and we're going to talk about the things to know about visiting Las Vegas here in spring 2021, but this will apply for most of the time headed forward. Let's do it. So let's talk about the reopening out here in Las Vegas. So right now, as it stands, here in April, the buffets are closed, the nightclubs are closed. There's only maybe one buffet that's open. The nightclubs are open on the weekends, right? All right, fine. Well, here in June 1st, they're proposing, the governor of Nevada is proposing that each county will be able to eliminate the social distancing rules and allow people to open up fully 100% the restaurants and nightclubs and everything like that. Now, there are still going to be things in place like masks. You have to wear the mask if you're going to be in these areas, but at least they're going to open things up starting in the summertime. As of right now, things are limited here in April and probably carrying over into May. So because we're talking about what's going on during the current situation going on in the world with the lockdowns and the restrictions, we're going to talk about when is the best time to arrive in Las Vegas. And I'll tell you right now, it's the weekends. The weekdays are still really restricted and limited. For example, the nightclubs, they're not open during the weekdays. They're only open during the weekends, and they're by reservation only. In terms of the buffets, there's a couple open, but not all of them. So we're still limited there. Now, when it comes to Uber, trying to hail an Uber on the strip, very difficult. So we're going to do our best to give you guys the most accurate, up-to-date information. So right now, the best time to show up is still the weekends. Let's go. Let's talk alcohol. You can see I've got this beer here. This was kind of expensive. It was $13, but I've paid as much as $27 for a drink here in one of these casinos. There is some tricks and workarounds. Did you know that if you're gaming and they have cocktail waitresses, you can actually get free drinks while you're playing? So, you know, you push the cheapest round you have, the penny slots, and you just put the minimum bet and you just kind of milk it while the cocktail waitress comes and goes. You could save a lot of money, and who knows, maybe even hit it big while you're drinking beer or a cocktail. So I've noticed that alcohol in Las Vegas can be really expensive, and it can add up super quick. Here's something that a lot of people don't know, but they find out when they get here. These hotels, when you're looking on these websites, their prices, they might be $56 for a really nice hotel room at MGM or one of the other properties around the MGM or on the Strip even. And then you get there and you find out that it's a $50 resort fee. So it's really not $56. It's $56 plus tax plus a resort amenity fee. So be aware of that when you're looking online, because when you get to the property, you're going to be expected to pay a resort fee, and most of the time it's per person. This is something that kind of threw me off. During the current situation where we've had these lockdown and there's restrictions in place, you would have thought that Las Vegas Strip would have taken that opportunity to revamp, rebuild a lot of the infrastructure and repair things, and even build some new resorts or something. None of that appears to have happened. In fact, what it looks like had happened here was the resort sat still, collected dust, and basically got mothballed, and then they kind of just turned them back on and open them back up, and you could see that all around Vegas. It's still in pretty good shape, but it's not anywhere near what it should be, considering how much time was available to really revamp this place. It looks like it actually went downhill a little bit. Let's talk money. ATMs. Some of these casinos have really high ATM withdrawal fees. I've seen it as high as $14 here recently, but typically you get hit with the ATM fee, and then your bank charge is also a service fee. So be aware of that. So some of the workarounds you can have is bring money with you or go to a real bank. But if you're actually expecting to withdraw here at the casino or at the hotel, be expected to pay a surplus in fees. Here's another thing you guys want to know is that when you come here you're going to want to book ahead of time to go see the attractions. For example, here at the Mandalay Bay, they've got the aquarium, but you've got to book a reservation in a time slot. That's how it is for many of the attractions up and down the strip here. So I found that to be really irritating, but you got to plan ahead. I don't plan ahead. If you're one of those type of people who do plan ahead, it won't bother you at all. Here's another thing. Is Vegas family friendly? I would say absolutely, and so would many of the other families who've come here with their kids. You have the different areas where Marvel Comics, you have the M&M store, you have water parks, you have lots of pools. Really a great place to bring your family. So if you're coming here as adults with your family or considering that, I would say definitely bring your kids, because there's plenty to do here. And then if you need babysitters, there's apps you can use, or you can talk to the front desk about getting a sitter for your kids while you go out and have a little bit of adult time. Las Vegas is one of the few places where taxi cabs actually thrive, and there's a reason for that. Number one, they do have an app called Curb. It is slow, especially if you don't have internet connection, and it's complicated at first because you have to pair with the code in the cab. But also, Uber and Lyft have been given like the secondary benefits all across. Like at the airport, it's easier to catch a cab from the airport to downtown or to the actual strip. Even at the hotels, they always put Uber and Lyft in the more inconvenient places. So do be aware of that. But also, I found it to be kind of difficult to hail an Uber and a Lyft because taxis are always coming in and out of here. If you look around behind me here, you can see there's plenty of taxis and not too many Lyfts. All right, so here's something to know about Las Vegas. When you guys come down to the Fremont Strip, you'll discover that there's a lot of activity going on. If you look right behind me, you can see they've got a roof that lights up at night. A lot of people, when they come to Vegas, they think they can only go to the Strip, or that the Strip is the only thing that's the big ticket in town. And then they come down to Fremont Street and they're like, hey, that's kind of cool. They've actually renovated this whole area. At one point, downtown was considered kind of, no man's land for people with money because everything was cheap. But they've really ramped up this area. Here's another thing to know. Drinking alcohol on the Strip is authorized. Now let's talk about casino gaming. I will definitely say from experience, having gone around from casino to casino, some do pay out better than others. And there's also a thing with the time of the day, and you know the old saying, play the machines, the slots that are closest to the door because they pay out. So the three factors that I would say consider is some hotels pay better than others. I will personally tell you the ones that I won at consistently. Mandalay Bay. Now, everything varies on time and day and whatnot. But Mandalay Bay. I also won at the Venetian. But I've lost at some of these other casinos consistently. One machine after another. Basically, they were just taking money off the table. Like I said, it does depend on the time of day also. Sometimes in the mornings, I've noticed you can win on a hot hand at the front area of the casino. That's not professional advice, that's just been my experience. But also be aware that some of these machines are going to clean you out left and right, one after another. And especially when you're paying for all those ATM machine fees and you're getting cleaned out like that, it creates a bad experience. So with that being said, at least use those membership cards. You have a few different rewards programs. You have the M Life by MGM, you have Caesars, then you have Wynn, you also have Grazi, and there's a couple others that you'll want to look for, but those four right there, if you can get any one or two of those, and it just so happens to be at the hotel you're staying at or near the hotel you're staying at, you'll be in pretty good shape with those reward programs. Here's a heads up, there are street performers. You'll see them. Sometimes they're wearing feathers or dressed as robots or Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. Those people work for tips. So when they come up to you and they start asking you if you want a picture, just be aware that they're going to be working for tips. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. I'm just saying that when they come up and take the picture, be ready to pay a tip because they work for that. Now, sometimes they might even say to you that your $5 isn't enough, that you should give them 20. So just be aware of that. So when you see the street performers on the street, that's what that is. Now, when it comes to visiting the pools in Las Vegas, you'll see that there's a lot of really cool pools that you'll want to go to, but really you can only go to the pools if you're with a guest there or you are a guest at the hotel. So make sure, if pools are important to you, that the hotel you're staying at has the amenities and the facilities that you want in a resort. This here is the MGM Park, but lots of pools, lots of resorts, but you want to make sure that it's going to be what you're looking for. All right, let's talk about clothes when you come to Las Vegas. Definitely always wear proper walking shoes. You can bring sandals for when you're down by the pool, but really, if you're going to be walking up and down the strip like everyone else, bring walking shoes because you're going to be doing a lot of that. Obviously, they have Uber, they have the taxis, but I still find myself walking more than anything. Next, when you visit during the winter months, especially December, January, February, it does get frosty out here. So bring clothes for 32 degrees, 35 degrees, even below that in some cases during January. In the summertime, it gets well over 100 degrees. Right now, we're visiting during the spring. Beautiful weather now. It is also beautiful weather in the fall. So those are the months when you get the beautiful weather, but if you really want to get in the pool, dress the part, you're gonna show up spring, which is basically April all the way until October in the fall. That's when the pool season is really good here in Vegas. Now, I should make this from a restaurant, but there would be lots of music and noise in that restaurant, so I'll make it here from the actual strip. Restaurants can be overpriced. Let me give you an example. If I wanted to buy a steak in Phoenix, I would pay $40 to $55 for a high-end New York strip, and that would be a high price. Out here in Las Vegas, it's easy to find the cheapest steak price at some of these restaurants. Name brand franchises, your favorite chefs. I'm not going to name any favorite chefs, but at those restaurants, $65, $85, even over $100 for one steak. That doesn't even include appetizers. So they're not giving you appetizers for $85. They're just giving you a slice of steak. And I've also got to say this, the steak quality, I don't know what it is, but it's not even that great. I've had better steak cooked at my house, and I'm not even a sous chef, than I've had at some of these restaurants here on the strip for $85. And I've tried them. You would think you would get something for it. But anyway, my experience has been that some of these other hotels that aren't name brand, restaurant names, good quality food, and you're going to pay 1/5 the price. So keep that in mind. I can say this with experience from before the lockdowns and restrictions to now, Vegas is way cheaper during the weekdays than it is on the weekends. Here's an example. Tuesday, I arrived here. Hotel rooms at the New York, for example, or any hotel, were about $52. Yes, you had to pay the resort fee, but for under $100 with taxes included, you were staying in your hotel. Now, it's the weekend. They've gone up about 3 times the price, just literally going from the weekdays to the weekends. So if you're coming out here, do be aware that you're going to pay a lot more money during the weekends for everything. That includes the activities and events that are taking place. Those prices go up too. The restaurants, the lines, all that, really frustrating. So I wanted to point that out about timing here in Vegas. Guys, that's going to summarize things to know about visiting Las Vegas in 2021. Hope you guys enjoyed this one and watch some of these other videos. We'll see you on the next one.